to chat and do whatever kind of the needs of the people that are with me are. So whenever you're okay.
Yeah, we're good. We're going.
All right, so this is the Palace Kitchen. This is the finest kitchen in the entire colony of Virginia in the 18th century. I might even be so bold as to say it is the finest kitchen in any of the 13 colonies in the 18th century. But what we do in here is we cook for the royal governor, his family, and his guests. And the main meal that we do cook for is going to be at dinner, which is 2 o'clock in the afternoon in the 18th century. So in just about a couple of minutes here, all of this would be making its way from the kitchen to the palace. None of it would be on these decorative plates just yet. This decorative plating is done in here so that you can see what it would be like on the governor's table. But all of this is real china. So if it starts running back and forth every day, we all know what would eventually happen to it. So instead, it goes on pewter plates with cloche meat covers over the top. Think of it kind of like room service. It goes on a 30-second journey from here to the warming room in the palace, where then all of this decorative plating would take place, and it would go out for the governor's dinner at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. What we do in here is we are cooking to show you the first course of that dinner. So from the fried potatoes down to the fruit tarts, that is going to be course number 1. On a typical average night, nothing fancy, no cause for celebration, you will have at least one more meat course made up of the exact same number of dishes to follow this one. And then you get down to your third and final desserting course, which are these very light and palate cleansing sweets at the end of the table. Things that are not going to continue to fill you up after you've already made your way through at least 2 courses like this before it. That can change, however. We know for Queen Charlotte's birthday dinner, there were 8 meat courses before you got to your final 9th desserting course.
Wow.
Now, Queen Charlotte did not grace us. She did not come all the way over here for this birthday dinner, but we threw the party anyway. So lots of choice, lots of variety. Hospitality is the name of the game here at the governor's palace. He does not know what you like and do not like. So the solution to that is to give you enough choice that you can pick and choose exactly what it is that you want to have on your plate. No one in this household is going to make you eat something that you do not like. It is one of the benefits of dining at the very top of the food chain. This is the finest ingredients, the most expensive cuts of meat, imported citrus and spices from all over the world, anything that can be got as a part of the English Empire's trade network, we have access to here at the governor's palace. 95% of people will eat nothing like this. Most folks are eating some sort of soup or stew and whole wheat bread every single day.
Wow.
But we are cooking one main meal and eating off of it 3 times. So the leftovers from this dinner will become your supper right before you go to bed. Anything that stays good overnight without our friend the refrigerator becomes your breakfast the next morning. We live in a city, so we can go to the market every day after breakfast, buy what you need for the next 24-hour window, and the whole cycle starts over again. The same is true for the governor and his friends, as well as those common everyday people. Cook one main meal a day, eat it a grand total of 3 times.
What was this oven over here for?
That is our bake oven.
The bake oven over there. Okay.
So, on the table, the fruit tarts were done in that oven. The onion pie was done in the oven. And so were the mushrooms and puff paste. Anything that you need to bake, from bread to cakes and pies and pastries, all of that can be done in this oven. It does take about 2.5, 3 hours to preheat it. So you got to give it a lot of love and attention. But if you preheat the oven the way that makes it happy, you can get about 5.5, 6 hours worth of baking time out of it. So it'll certainly give you back in reward as much effort as you were willing to put into it.
What's the upstairs? Is that where the people stayed?
So, the enslaved men and women that worked in this kitchen most likely slept upstairs. Oftentimes in cities, there's not enough room to build separate quarters for those members of the population. We are already slammed on top of each other. And the term quarter literally comes from the fact that out on plantations, they want the quarters for the enslaved people to be 1/4 mile away from the main house. We don't have room to do that. So oftentimes in cities, enslaved men and women end up sleeping above the spaces where they work. However, the paid professional cook that was in this kitchen for the last 2 royal governors got his own private room in the West Advance building. Have y'all been on a tour yet?
No, we're heading in there.
Cool. When you start your tour, you are starting your tour in the West Advance building. That is the servants' hall over there. Most of the paid members of staff are having to share their rooms with another paid member of staff. The cook in this kitchen does not. He gets his own private room. He is the highest paid member of staff. The butler, who is technically his boss, is making somewhere around 42 pounds sterling a year. The cook in this kitchen is making 65 pounds sterling a year.
Wow.
He has wallpaper, he has a 4-poster bed, he has a winged back chair. He is living a pretty cushy life, but he also has a very hard, time-consuming job every day.
Mm.
Did you have a question?
So the term quarters comes from quarter mile from the facility and all these plantations and stuff we saw.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Wow, that's something I learned new.
You know,
I learn something new every day.
And I feel the same way in here. I am constantly learning things in here, which is part of the perks of having this job, is that I am always learning. I did not know that fact until I started working here. So, you know, this is a great place to be able to come. And I literally had a guy on one of our tours this morning. There was a school group in here, and I was talking about the tripe Kilkenny that I made. And tripe is beef stomach. It's the second stomach of a cow. And I was telling them all of this, and they were, you know, having a great time. And as they were leaving, one of the chaperones kind of came up and was like, I'm not trying to be this guy, but I'm a cow man. I'm a rancher. And I want you to know that tripe isn't the whole stomach, it's the lining of the second stomach. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. And he was like, I'm not trying to be rude. I was like, no, like I'm an apprentice in this shop. I do not ever own to say that I know the ins and outs of every single piece of historic foodways in the world. I am here to learn things. And whether that comes from a guest telling me something I didn't know before, or if it's the master and the journeyman of our shop also telling me things I've never heard before, I'm here to learn. So I'm not going to be offended by a guy that knows more about cow stomachs than I do, telling me the nitty gritty of cow stomach detail. I'm not going to be offended by that.
What are you making right there?
I am currently working on rice pudding.
Rice pudding, that sounds good.
It is going to be awesome. So I have been boiling away my rice in a mixture of heavy cream and cinnamon. I actually didn't have enough heavy cream, that's why I keep sampling my rice. My rice is not quite as soft as I want it to be yet. So I've been kind of balancing it out with a little bit of water so that it still has enough liquid to kind of swell up the way that it needs to. But when this comes off, I'm going to add nutmeg, sugar to taste, currants, and let it cool, and a 1/4 pound of butter, that's important, and let it cool down. And when it cools down, I'm going to add the yolks of 4 eggs, the whites of 2 eggs, beat that all up together, and then pour it into my pie crust here. And then it is going to get baked in the Dutch oven this afternoon, because I didn't know I was going to make rice pudding today. So I did not preheat the big bake oven over there. And like we were talking about, that takes like 2.5, 3 hours. I do not have that time now. So instead, I'm going to use our small batch oven, which is just a happy old regular Dutch oven. I'm going to pull beds of coals out from the bar grate, put them underneath and on top of the Dutch oven, let it preheat for a little bit that way, and then I will actually put my pie when it's ready to rock and roll. I can't believe I just called it a pie. It's not a pie, it's a pudding. I'll actually put it in the Dutch oven.
Would you have other people working for you?
Yeah. So that's a great question, and I'm going to kind of give a long-winded answer to it because it's such a good question.
That's fine.
So in 2022, I am not alone in this kitchen. There are a grand total of 4 of us. There is a master of the shop, a journeyman, 2 apprentices, and then we have interns and volunteers that come and spend time with us as well. They have just all. The master of the shop, the travesty of being a modern master of a modern historic trade shop is that you have to go and answer modern emails. So he's off doing some weird master of the shop business that I don't have to be a part of.